welcome back to another episode of Social Butterfly. I'm your host, Bri, and still have my blue light glasses on. Don't actually need those right now. And as you can see, I've got a little co-host next to me today. Hi, Lemmy. We'll see how long she actually stays up here. She usually sleeps on the couch over there when I'm recording, but she's up here next to me, so we'll see how long it lasts. So just wanted to address something first. If you're listening to this on a Wednesday and you're thinking, I don't remember seeing this episode on Tuesday, that's because it wasn't there. I am about to have like a really busy rest of the month, a really busy next couple months, and I just didn't get an episode recorded in time to put out on Tuesday. And you know what? That's okay. I'm not going to push myself to do it because I just want this to be something that's fun for me. And the second it stops being fun, we're going to reevaluate. So I have some time now because I don't work tomorrow because we have a snow day. And so I figured I would do it now, and I've got time to edit and all that good stuff. So we're just taking her easy. You know, we might have to switch to like an every other week format. We'll just see how things go and how I'm feeling about it and what we want to do. But like I said, I'm not really putting any pressure on myself because this is just for fun and I can do it when it feels right to me. I also, you can see I've kind of got the vibes going again here. I do have this like brown sugar cinnamon cider, and I was really nervous it was going to be gross, but it's actually pretty good. I'm a sucker for anything like brown sugar, cinnamon, like the cozy flavors is my vibe. So I saw it at the store, and at Trader Joe's, fun fact if you didn't know this, at Trader Joe's, you can pick out just one like of a drink, even if it's in a like closed pack, you can open it and take one out and just buy one to like try something, which I find to be very cool. So I just got one just in case I hated it, and I like it. So today I kind of wanted to talk about a topic that's pretty applicable to me, and that is sensitivity and being sensitive. For as long as I can remember, that has been one way that not even other people describe me, but like I would describe myself. I'm just a very sensitive person. And I think that my definition of that has changed over the years. But first, let's back up a little bit. So with that sensitivity comes the fact that crying has just always been... Oh, are we leaving or are we adjusting? We're adjusting. We're getting more comfortable. Heck yeah, guys. Isn't it just the best feeling in the world when your pet just chooses to like sit and stay with you? It's awesome. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, crying. So crying has just always kind of been something that it's just my emotional reaction for everything. Whether I'm happy, sad, especially when I'm mad or frustrated, I cry. And sometimes it's not always like full on bawling. Sometimes there's not even like actual tears, but like, you know, my eyes well up. You know, you get that feeling that you're crying, that like kind of like pull sensation like in your head and your eyes prick. You know what I mean? You know what it feels like to cry. So even if it's not like the real tears are coming, that's still like how I'm feeling. And I used to really hate that about myself. And I still don't like to cry when I get mad just because it like frustrates me even more. And then I feel like I'm even more prone to cry. But you know, like crying when I'm happy, I feel like as I've gotten older, I do that a lot more. And I really like that. You know, just because it's like, wow, I'm feeling this emotion so deeply that my body is like, we're going to cry about this. or tear up, or whatever. I just recently kind of began to notice that, like, I cry at some really random things. Like, I almost don't have control over it. It's like my body will just decide, like, hey, we're crying at this. And so I've seen people do this on TikTok, and I've always thought it was so funny and thought I should do it. And so I started doing it. But I started keeping track of why, like, what made me cry. And I think I kind of started keeping track, like, towards the end of January, and have been adding to it. But there's already, I don't know if you can see that, but there's, like, already a lot on here. Let me read to you a few of them. The very first one that kind of made me, like, be like, oh, I should keep track of these, because, like, what the heck, was when Alec and I were out in California. We had the chance, we were hanging out with our youngest niece and nephew, and we took them to the beach just for a little bit. But when we were driving there, we were listening to music, and Stick Season came on, and they're 12 and 10, both knew all the words and were singing along. And I think I said this last episode, but Noah Kahan is, like, one of my favorite artists of all time, and Stick Season is, like, that song that, like, I discovered him with. And so hearing them, like, sing along to it and know all the words, and, like, we're just, like, driving down the road by the beach, and it, like, made me tear up. And I, like, turned to Alec, and he's like, are you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, this is just really cute. So that's what kind of spurred it. But I'll just read a couple other ones. Oh, the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. Nothing could have prepared me for that. I mean, people tried, but what the heck? I don't think I've ever had a more visceral reaction to a TV show in my life. That show has made me cry so many times. I did not expect that. This is an example of a random one. The song Born This Way by Lady Gaga came on the radio, and it made me tear up. I mean, it's a beautiful song. It's very inclusive. Why did I cry to that? Don't know. When I launched my podcast, I cried, and that's an example of a happy cry. I was glad that I did it. I was proud of myself for doing it. I cried a lot at the Oscars. The opening performance of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Oh my God, I cried. That was, every time they sing, it's just so beautiful. And their friendship is so beautiful. The way they support each other. Oh my God. A lot of these are, like, TikToks too. There's one on here, like, one day I really... Hold on, we're readjusting again. You good? Okay. There was one day I really wanted to call my papa. I used to call him every single day on my way home from work. And so I was, like, driving home one day, and I think, like, a couple people that I tried to call just, like, weren't available and didn't answer. And it made me sad because I really just wanted to hear his voice. So I played some of the voicemails that I have saved from him, which I'm so glad that I still have them. I really want to get a tattoo of, like, the kind of, like, sound wave of one of them. But yeah, so I'm just kind of, like, keeping track of them, just because some of them are funny, some of them are, like, they might be sad, but they're, like, a nice thing to look back on, and then some of them are, like, happy memories. And I just think also, just because I'm someone who that is my first emotional reaction, that I kind of wanted to see, like, what is making me cry? Like, is there a correlation here? Like, what's going on? So I just thought that would be kind of fun, just to even just keep for myself. On a more serious note, though, being sensitive, I think, when you say, like, oh, they're so sensitive, I think we correlate that with, being offended, or you have to watch what you say around someone. And I definitely, that used to be, like, very much the type of sensitive I was. Like, I was also feeling things very deeply, but I was also taking a lot of things personally. And I started to kind of recognize that was affecting some of my, like, friendships and relationships in my life. And so it's kind of taken some time and some work to kind of realize that not everything everyone does is a personal attack on me. And more often than not, it has nothing to do with me. And I'm saying this, but I'm still actively working on this, okay? I mean, this has been something that has been like a main topic of my therapy sessions all 5 years that I've been going. Because it's a really hard thing for you to get over, especially when you've been doing it for, when did I start therapy? 25 years of your life. You're equating everything everyone does to being a personal attack on you. It takes some time to like unlearn that. But I'm finally at the place, at least, where I feel like I can acknowledge when that's happening, and that makes it easier to kind of think my way out of. Because if we're being so honest, like truly at the end of the day, like your feelings are not other people's responsibility. And I don't say that in that like no one should care about your feelings, because obviously like people who care about you and are in your life like should and will care about your feelings and how what they do and say impacts you. But what I'm also saying is like I've learned to kind of like take a step back and be like, did they intend to hurt my feelings? Did they intend to have, have me have this reaction? Or is this me? Is this something that I need to look at, that I need to work on? So essentially, not everything is about me, not everything is being done to me. And that's one part of being sensitive that I have really needed to work on and like unlearn, I guess. But on the flip side of that, though, there's this card that's in the game We're Not Really Strangers, which if you've never played that game, highly recommend. I say game loosely, but it's like cards and they all have questions and they get deeper each level. And it's a game that like I really love, just because I like to have those deep conversations. But there's a card in there that I think about sometimes, and I don't remember exactly how it's phrased, but it essentially is like, what's something that you used to not like about yourself that you've like come to like or come to embrace? And I find that like more often than not, whenever I play and if I get that card, like my sensitivity is my answer, because it used to be something that I like hated because it was giving me anxiety because of the way that I was handling it. And once I was able to kind of start to unlearn that part of it, and when I'm saying unlearn, like this is all a work in progress and it's something that I have just begun to work on in the last few years. But once I was able to kind of remove that part of it, I was able to appreciate the other part of it, and that is that it is such a gift and a blessing to feel things so deeply. And to have things elicit a response from you that makes you cry, that, just brings about feelings in such a strong way in you. And I really have come to like that about myself, because I feel like it allows me to relate and empathize with people. And it's always allowed me to do that, but I just don't think I was able to like recognize that positive of it. But now I mean, it's a big part of what makes me me. Truly, it is. And it's like, why would I spend my time hating something that is such a big part of like my personality and a big part of like who I am? And so I really liked that card because it made me realize like, oh, like I have gotten to the point where I can celebrate this about me and recognize it for the positives that it also brings and not just the negatives. And, along with realizing in the last couple years that, again, like, you can't make it other people's duty to, like, cater to your feelings, I've also realized that, like, there are some people that I've, like, grown not as close to, or that I've grown apart from. And it's not because anything happened, but for a long time with a lot of my friendships, and because I've said that I am so big on friendship, but I think there are some friendships that I was like trying desperately to hold on to when I really didn't need to anymore. And it wasn't because we had a fight, it wasn't because they hate me now or I hate them. It might not even be that we don't like each other. It's just that we've grown apart. And, it doesn't mean it's my fault or their fault, but I think for so long I was like, well, if I'm not trying, then if this friendship ends, it's my fault. And that's not true at all. And so I've kind of found that, there have been some people that I've kind of grown apart from over this time while I've been working on, not taking everything personally. And I think that's okay. It's a really big thing for me to process and work through. But I'm working on it, and I like to think that I've gotten better at it. And just realizing that, I'm getting older, and as we get older and enter different phases in our life, we have different phases of people too. And I can pride myself on my friendships as much as I want to, but the fact of the matter is that sometimes you just grow apart from people. And that's been a hard thing, but I think that is really directly related to how sensitive I am, because I think in the past I blamed myself if that friendship were to end or not be as close, because I'm like, well, I didn't try hard enough, I didn't put in the effort. But every relationship is a two-way street, and I have to keep reminding myself of that. So that's been just an interesting little tidbit, I feel like, that has kind of developed as I've worked on not taking things so personally. And so along with, oh, hold on, Remy's readjusting again, please hold. You good, girl? You're so small. There's a musician from Australia, her name is Peach, PRC. I've been following her since 2020, before she signed with her label, I think. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Point is, she has this dog named Marbles. She calls him so many nicknames, but I think that's his his government name. But he will curl up, and he's a smaller dog, but she calls it his small time. And he's being very teeny tiny time. And so whenever Remy curls up really tight into a ball, Alec and I now call it her small time. So Remy is having small time right now. And it is very cute. She's sleeping. Oh, cute. But in that, working on my sensitivity, I have started to follow, social media accounts that kind of post some good reminders about, not everything is personal. The account We the Urban is fantastic on Instagram for that. They post weekly reminders and stuff, but it's just awesome. But there's one quote that I found a couple years ago that has really kind of helped me, helped remind me to not take things so personally, and that is, stop expecting you from other people. And I love that, because I can't expect other people to perceive a situation or feel the same about a situation that I do, but more importantly than that, I can't blame them for not feeling the same way I do or perceiving something the same way I do. Because just because I would do it that way doesn't mean someone else will or even should feel that way about something. So, that quote was my phone background for a year, but it was, stop expecting you from other people. But I'm going to look through and try to find some of the ones that I've saved. Oh, I really love this. Is from We the Urban. Empathy is not limitless. You can understand someone's pain without letting yourself drown in it. How perfect is that? Because empathy truly is all about being sensitive to others' feelings, and sometimes even taking on those feelings. But you really have to be careful, and it really depends on just how strong of empathy that you feel for other people, but you really have to be careful to not take that on yourself. And it doesn't make you cold or not yourself. You're still exercising that empathy and that sensitivity that is your power and is something that, a tool that you can use for good to help other people and relate to other people. But that doesn't mean that you need to take it on as your own and feel it as your own pain, because that's just not reasonable. And You have your own stuff going on. Like, why are you going to worry yourself about other people all the time? One of these days I will learn to not do my laundry while I'm recording, but today's not that day. Anyway, okay, I found some more. Most of these are from We the Urban, but there's a couple that are from the account This Wall Was Boring Me. And one of those is people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. So again, that's kind of like you're feeling something so deeply, but you can't expect other people to feel that as deeply because they just might not be there. And that's not like a knock to other people. It's just that like some people feel things more deeply than others, and like that's okay. It doesn't make someone a good person or a bad person. It doesn't mean that you can't relate or can't be friends or can't, anything like that. It's just accepting that, like, again, other people are not you. I really like this one because it talks about being a people pleaser, which I feel like is really hand in hand with being like a sensitive person. And I think being a people pleaser comes from like when you are so empathetic that you want to be a people pleaser because you don't want other people to feel bad. But it says, gentle reminder for recovering people pleasers. Sometimes the best decisions for yourself will bother other people. Make them anyway. You're not responsible for their happiness, reactions, or perceptions of you. And I'll just end on this last one, but I'll put like a couple with this episode like on the screen. But this one says, sensitivity and empathy are your greatest strengths as long as you remember your boundaries. So I guess I'll just end this as a reminder that like sensitivity is a superpower, and it took me a long time to realize that for myself, and I'm still working on owning that while also applying the knowledge that like I can be sensitive and I can feel things deeply, but that doesn't mean I have to be offended or take everything personally. So I'm in no way an expert on this. Said many times, I am still working on it, and I'm sure I'll be working on it for a really long time, but it is really helpful to be aware of it and remind yourself of that. So I'm reminding you, your sensitivity is a superpower. But thanks for tuning in to this episode, and I'll see you on the next one.